I take a few slugs and the kids Brogan with a fantastic point. You know I'm going to catch it, cause you know I got no brakes. Doesn't matter.
Saoirse Alan Brogan de chlán a bhí sáirteas na cluichí Gaelacha.
I take a few slugs and the kids so I'm coming back.
Tá a ahir agus a úncail geansaí gormaithe chlia.
He can't take it.
Give me some of that patience, Lord.
Bhí anna chumas ar fadaige, ach bhíon chumar chórsaí ar feadh go bhfad, ná buach sé bán ile éireann go deo.
Patience. Give me some of that sweet patience, Lord. I will keep my eye on the ball.
Did you enjoy these before, Jamie, did I?
No, never even talked about them.
For the All-Stars. 1979, do you know what that one is? It's Grandad's All-Star.
Oh.
Nice,
It's
isn't it?
pretty old, yeah.
Huh?
It's pretty old.
And that's Bernard's Footballer of the Year there from 2010.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And that's my Footballer of the Year from 2011.
Yeah.
Remember being on the pitch?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Walking around the pitch?
Yeah.
Which your favourite one?
Probably Grandad's one.
Grandad's one is probably the nice one,
I
isn't it?
like the way he poses.
It even looks like Grandad, doesn't it?
No.
His hair a little bit looks like his hair was then,
I
doesn't
guess, yeah.
it? I hope you win one.
Probably will. Hopefully, anyway.
Bhí Alan an barca chrócaig an 19 nuair a bheidh átha clia a gcéad chréibh le gábhlíon díag. Agus bhí sé níos gcuiread an action ná an gná hacadóir.
After the game, my Uncle Jim brought myself and my cousin James into the dressing room. And those guys would have been heroes of mine. I was obviously in awe of the guys room there, and I sat in the corner pretty sheepishly, I think, as the lads were celebrating around. But yeah, look, it's a great memory to have, and it's one I only vaguely remember, to be honest, even though I was 12. But it was, it was a great day to be a Dub.
Díreach ceithre bliana níos déanaí, dimar Alan na barca chrócaig den gcéad uair. Agus ba an son a chnochas an cuma scóráil a bhíige.
I think it was midway through the first half, I just made a run.
Alan Brogan, chance to get Alan and why she's goal.
Liam O'Hanacon slipped me a lovely little foot pass and just went through off the outside of right foot. To score a goal that day is obviously a huge memory for me. When you see Dublin score goals now, it's all very serious, but I was able to afford a bit of a smile that day.
Fríochning an cluthe ar chó scór, agus cégur chail átha clia an ahimirt, bhí féin bhanín Alan a forbert.
First came across him in Maynooth in college. So I suppose the first couple of days he was coming in a Dublin minor gear bag, and I was wondering who this fella was. Me and Alan hit it off straight away. Like, he would have been a cocky enough young fella, you know, like a typical Dub back in those times, you know, thought they were going to win it all. I remember him telling me one time, he said that he's 100% going to win in All-Ireland, and I was thinking, like, you know, from Laochra, I thought I was cocky. But he explained it and said, well, Dublin have won in All-Ireland in every single decade since the GA began, so what's my year going to be any different?
Lean dulchan cín Alan ar aig, agus a gábhíle sa dó, ránaí chéad de fainéal sínsir á clia.
Alan came through that year along with Barry Cahill and Paul Casey and Darren McGee, and you know, Stephen Cluxon was in his first year also. So there was a lot of these good young kids coming through, putting their hands up, looking for jerseys.
Well, Darnoy, gominnic a Harley and she go will mock the imroar call, go will she go mahig and pel. Ach, in Nairi, a kai go make an imroar, you know, Cade fan Gael, conimert either kunte. August, Darnoy, Tyswin Galer, go will na slew to imroar a black clear. So, Damrod go will imroar pioca from the senior black clear, kai go will she Aaron Kaidan.
My advice to him would be just get out there and play your game, because he was good enough to play and to compete at that level.
Cenar raibh sé ach 8 mbliana díag, agus gan éar a banéal ach le cúpla seachtain, baitle Alan can have raibh sé tosnús na claí.
I remember back in the O'Byrne Cup, Barry got a game in the O'Byrne Cup before Alan, and Alan, like, privately wasn't happy about it. It's not that he wasn't happy, he was jealous, genuinely would have been envious of Barry. I remember Alan saying to me, when am I going to get my chance? And I'm like, will you relax, you're 18. It's going to happen for you.
Harla aharú drama túl ré immerthe Allen, nuair a chuig Tommy Lyon sa tansa glethe treinála. A bhog go os na cúlathe go dtí na tosathe.
We were playing Clare in the challenge in Nave Row. Tommy put me in corner forward. I got another few points that day, and I think Tommy never really looked at me as a wing back again. And I obviously spent the rest of my inter-county career playing as a forward, thank God.
Counts in the Brabbish to Crow Dackrathy, Shochan Cosmo, and the top Brogan, nice dig there, Shahan Shans, cool in the
I played National League that year, scored 1-3 against Donegal. So that would have given me great confidence, like maybe I'm good enough to be here.
to trust the Brogan last year than Gully,
He lit the place up that day, and us as a management team, everybody had a bit of a smile on their faces afterwards. I think we found a little gem.
Crohig Allen Gulua, Gorev an art or tiltige fern Blackley.
Brogan, Crew England, the Chitoy, Paintele, Lehenda has bought us.
En imníoch Allen chun tasnú sa chréamh den géadúir an Saoirson in Aiglach Garman. Ach ar lán chluthe, bhí scrúdú eile a dhéanamh tiniste.
Myself and Barry Cahill were down to do an exam at 2:30 that afternoon, I think, to finish at 5:30. The game was on Dr. Cullen Park in Carlow at 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30, so it was going to be very tight for us. So we got permission after college to sit the exam that morning at 9:30. We sat the exam, and then we had to have the presence of a guard with us for a couple of hours while we went down to join the team to ensure that we didn't make any calls to anyone or didn't send any text message to anyone letting know what was on the exam paper. So we didn't pass on any information to anyone else in the class, despite some requests.
Deireadh le Allen agus le átha clíos tríal sin, agus dágus son chluthe mór a gcuine a seannaide an bhí rompa. An lá son, chur Allen a chumas an úil den saoil fólach le cúpla písa skille a raibh don híochta buint lethe.
Alan Brogan against Mark O'Reilly. Great dummy. That is a simple point. Here's Alan Brogan, one of the newcomers to the championship this season. That is excellent.
This particular day, I think it was Cormac Murphy. Did the L-star jump and I should have done me solo and was able to swing it over with the left into hill 16.
This was a lovely dummy. Makes it look easy, doesn't he?
I laughed watching the television. I was delighted for him because, that would have meant the world to him when he's whinging to me about not getting at a Burn Cup game, thinking he's not going to make it.
Brogan, Johnny Sell dummies against Mark O'Reilly. I'm trying to get anyone close to it. It's another fine
Well, is tóca Alan Brogan nar hosna sé amach bhí luas ar le aige agus bhí sé có crín comá bhí imróir den saith sin ag teáiltó ó Baile Clia.
absolute sheer delight. It's been a great day for them.
For a lot of these fellas, it was their first Leinster final. There was an excitement, there was giddiness about the whole occasion. But it was a big deal in terms of we were trying to do something that hadn't been done in a while.
Dipping in is Darren McGee. But he gives the ball away, and it's Kai Brennan again.
Kildare were a formidable outfit, and it was going to take a huge performance from Dublin that day.
This side towards Alan Brogan. Ken Doyle chasing after. Still Brogan. Powerful.
Alan was the man that you had to stop. He was always out in front, he was making things happen, and he was very courageous in a way that he always wanted the ball.
John McNally with the 45.
Johnny McNally hit a free straight into my arms and just managed to slip it in the corner into hill 16.
Punch down from Cosgrove. Comes to Brogan. Gets inside. Off the post. And Dublin are back in business.
For me, playing in my first Leinster final, scoring a goal into hill 16, that was an amazing day for me.
Jason Sherlock is down, but the referee has in fact blown the full-time whistle. Dublin have finally done it. Tommy Lyons has certainly created a new impetus to this Dublin side.
Bhí sé annatácht ó heh fern agus spirid agus a le héad sin a chur le chéile.
For Tommy to come in with this new group and win it in his first attempt, huge excitement and a great sense of relief, and we were going to have an impact going forward.
Hill 16 alive. Dublin are Leinster champions. The mission has been accomplished.
As the old soccer pitch has gone now, how we used to come out and practice our frees. Remember you used to take us out and
Make it shoot 10 frees in a row, and if you miss one, make it start again.
We used to have matches over here. Matches over here we used to have with the Connollys and stuff. There used to be 20 of us over here. World Cup, and kids nowadays don't play like that. We used to play manhunt on the green and rounders and catch the ball with one hand, and we're out here every day just playing some sort of sport and climbing trees. That's definitely where the skills were honed. Yeah, it was a good old community now, in fairness, and good asset to have the green here.
So my earliest memories, obviously football was big in the family. My dad had played with Dublin in the 70s, my uncle had played with Dublin in the 70s, my uncle Jim had went on, he was a selector in the Dublin team that won the All-Ireland in 1995, so I suppose the family was steeped in a tradition of Gaelic football.
As a child, he was a very athletic young fella now. He was the eldest in the family, so the eldest in the family are always inclined to be a bit more obedient in the sense that we never really had too much trouble with him. I managed the senior team in Plunkett for 2 or 3 years, and Alan used to come training with me when I was managing the team, and Alan used to run alongside the adults in the dark when we'd be doing our sprints. He'd be running outside us, and that's, in a sense, that's where he got his introduction to it. I knew from the time Alan was maybe 10, 11, I knew that he was exceptional.
We grew up on a street in Laochra Lodge in Castleknock, and we had a 20-acre park in front of us with goalposts and trees and stuff, and we just spent most of our time out there. He was always a high achiever as a young guy, and I would have looked up to him all the way along. We hung around with him when we were kids. All the different games we played, I'd kind of just jump into their gang as much as he'd let me before he'd tell me to piss off, you know. Yeah, it was a funny the amount of lads that played for Dublin from this area as well. Like Paddy Andrews literally only
around the corner there, yeah.
Around the corner. Ross McConnell lives 100 yards from here.
Barry Cal's around.
Barry Cal's down the road, yeah.
J.O.'s close by. Used to have 2 carloads going every Tuesday to training.
Yeah.
Sen and Connell used to drive
Sen used to take us training, yeah.
Little washing machine.
Bit of green polo, wasn't it?
Yeah, great crack though.
Good old crack, yeah.
Treis an glinder a tháinig le craibh Lion of Uchtend, bhí cuaram dúshlánach rompan ish. Ard bhacha ag le lechanis na héireann.
Armagh had been around for a number of years beforehand. They were really come inside. They were close to winning All Ireland. They had some top players, the likes of O'Shea McConville. They obviously had Kieran McGeaney, the McNultys, Francie Bellew. So they were well-known names. So it was another step up for us.
And away we go.
One thing I remember about it is thinking I was free, thinking I was on my own, just tapped this over the bar, and all of a sudden Kieran McGeaney's hand came out of nowhere and he got a fingertip on my shot and just deflected it wide.
Chance here for Dublin, and it's gone out for a 45.
When I look back, that shows the kind of desire that team had and the desire Kieran McGeaney had, and that's the level you have to go to reach All-Ireland finals.
And this is a free for Dublin. Does this go to a replay? Hill 16 he faces. It's floating to the right. Will it curl off the post? Incredible! Armagh have to hold possession. It's all over!
For us, it was an opportunity missed, but I think in hindsight, winning the Leinster Championship that year was probably our goal, and anything else was going to be a bonus.
Treis dóibh craibh Lion of Uchtend a bhríon remission, craibh na héireann a bhí áclaí dírithe a 2003.
Dublin are favourites, just as they were in 99.
We beat Louth easy in the first round. Maybe we thought this is going to be saying we'll get through Leinster Championship and then we'll have our crack at trying to win All Ireland.
Christie launches it in again. Cosgrove couldn't hang on. There's the shot from Brogan. Very good thinking.
Dublin being Dublin in Croke Park, they still would have thought they would have accounted for us.
In the least cover, they've got support. O'Hara called for a goal. Great stop by Fergal Byron. Wonderful save by the least goalkeeper. O'Hara was thinking goal. Brogan now wants a point on his left boot and he's put it wide. And the Dublin forwards are not playing at all well.
We thought that we could beat them, absolutely. We thought they could be rattled.
Clancy, there's a gap and Clancy has gone through it. Chance of a goal. Point instead.
We didn't play badly in the game, but we didn't do enough to win it. So huge shock, huge disappointment not to retain the Leinster title.
Laochra have beaten Dublin for the first time since 1981.
There would have been, a fairly harsh, bitter look at things. Would have been questioning selections, would have been questioning was the right team put out that day. But the reality of sport is you have to lick your wounds and get on with it.
But today, Croke Park belongs to Laochra.
Agus binné go díreach Ian Allen, agus spruc nua cur rimisige, craibh na héireann faoi fé héin a bhuachtain den géadúir de áclia.
We knew the strong team going into it. Jim Gavin and Declan Darcy had coached the team that year. Tommy was a manager, but the lads had done most of the work in fairness in the lead up to it, so we were very well prepared.
I
think we beat them 12-7 that day in what was a tight match, and we just managed to pull away at the end. To be captain of an All-Ireland winning Dublin team for me was obviously a dream come true. Like, it's definitely one of my fondest memories in a Dublin jersey.
There was a feel-good factor in the camp with having won the 21 All-Ireland previous years, and a lot of these guys were now on the panel. We were feeling quite confident that we were going to win the Leinster title.
We actually started very well against Westmeath. Myself and Gael were motoring very well in the first half.
Brogan has kicked 2 already. Sorry, make that 3.
Dublin started that game on fire, and then they collapsed.
To bring them level, Murphy is there. It's a point. Lots of pressure on him and his team to perform today. Here's Paul Conway to seal it, and Conway has got it.
Losing to Westmeath, particularly when we started the game so well, we should have went on and closed the game out, and maybe we were a bit naive, maybe we were a bit overconfident. We thought we had the game won.
But a dark day for Dublin. On D-Day, they haven't been up to the challenge of Westmeath.
Tres Ravlian Tabistach, Hockrigan Question Kunte, Erodi Aharu. Dinachan Kinne, File Regla Tammy Lions. The Ahinava, Ervara Heinigestach and Art. And Gintuch and Taharusa, Gomuch Allen, and Bone Ille Aaron, a Hauntikshe. Ray Noah, Banistor Noah, agus chur Paul Caffrey Bain Brescia Ober Jim, Rodnar Hein Bjogna Moorle Allen.
If I say I like the gym now in this video, lads will be laughing at me. The gym work was very new for me, but look, you did your bit, and I never focused on it too much. For me, it was all about the skills of the game, honing my shooting going into a match.
We had a feeling that, look, there was no point in that group or us as management team talking about winning All-Irelands. Our idea would have been that, look, we really need to put a foothold on Leinster and establish ourselves in whatever term that we are going to be in for. If we could rattle back-to-back Leinsters, we would give ourselves a good platform, and that was very much our focus.
We're out, lads.
Yeah, it was always nice, I suppose, just get away from things. Maybe come up, hit a few balls here. Like, the couple of weeks leading into a game, it can be quite intense. You're training 3-4 times a week. There's a lot going on in your head about what's ahead of you that Sunday or whatever. So I often came up to the driving range just to hit a few balls, just to kind of clear the mind the week of a game. Monday after matches, we used to go to Hollystown. It's not far from here. They used to look after us very well, in fairness there. Kieran Barry and Oliver Barry, his dad, ran the golf club there, and we'd get a game of golf in. We'd always plan to maybe play 18 holes. Some days it only ran to 15 holes, and then you go in for the few points. It was great. Like, it was an integral part of what we did, and it was a very close-knit group, and that's like a lot of those bonds and those friendships were forged, obviously on the football field and the training field, but also on days that we got to spend together up in the likes of Hollystown.
The Hill, the Cusack, the Hogan, the house is jam-packed. There isn't a seat available, and what a game we could have. Possibly, Dara, I would say the game of the season.
Be clothe Canish Lion Ravil Sakuig, on Hied Trailer a Manisticht Noah. Agus Tusker Chail Ahaklia and Iglish a Ravil Tree, near Dinach Talav Slan than Moor.
It was a big mark for us as a management team. Mick O'Dwyer was in charge of Laochra. They had a fine team.
Dublin were under a lot of pressure that year to win it back.
See Quinn for Dublin. 3 players wait inside. Conal Keaney there too. First point is Dublin's. And a flying start. Conway looking to level it up. Oh, what a fantastic point. That is brilliant. Here's Alan Brogan. He's been superb so far. Rooney's on a yellow.
Alan would have been our linchpin, and he was playing brilliant football that year. He was really blossoming. I think winning captain the 21 team had really added to his confidence.
Jason Sherlock, Gael. Great block down by Higgins. Might still come for Brogan. It is Brogan. Alan Brogan. How did he manage to dig that out? 2 in a row for Dublin.
I think it was level going into injury time, I think. And Joe Higgins got a ball on the end line. I actually got a shoulder on, and he spilled it out over the end line.
Did that go out over the line? It's out now, and it's a 45 according to the umpire.
It was a very questionable 45. We think Alan pushed Joe Higgins out over the line, Alan, of course, will deny this down to the ground, but it was absolutely a push.
Well, to Box Quinn, can he put them in front?
For Mossy to kick that one with that pressure on him was a huge kick, and we really needed to go over.
This to put Dublin in front. They looked out of it a few minutes ago. He's got it. Dublin are Leinster champions for 2005. An absolute cliffhanger.
That was a small stepping stone on the way to bigger things ahead.
Agus is beag dúlán is mó ná tíróin.
Mossy got a goal just before half time, so again it all looked, the teams were going very well until obviously Mulligan got that goal.
Mulligan options to his left, still Mulligan. Mulligan, what a goal!
Tyrone had it on us physically, and then they were able to play their football.
We got a draw over it, and we're obviously well beaten the following day, but look, it was another step along the way. There was lots of lessons learned out of it.
We had to try and just get a harder edge to us.
Agus bhí deisica seo hastáil nuair a heiste líidir ó thuaig de chluthe strathe a meach míchlú a son amachir. Can na hómaí mar a baisteachir.
We wanted to lay down a marker that we couldn't be pushed around. We got 2 yellows, we got a red, and I got involved in a bit of verbals with the Tyrone physio coming off the field.
And then the big row started and they were all flaking. And then Daddy Pillar Caffrey had Alan minded up in the stand.
I'm looking at Alan and I'm saying, well, Alan's definitely one of me lovers, not of me fighters. I was making sure he didn't go back onto the field of play to get involved in the bit of a row that was happening.
Coríonn se sin le spread na fórna agus tagan daoine le céile agus tá an spread a bhad níos fearr.
It was a huge psychological marker for Dublin to go up there, have it in a real dogfight and come out on the right side of the result.
Back to get David Henry and Sons, and now getting shit to get Paddy Russell agus Paul Caffrey.
Thugad an Ezekielachta isteach sa chraibh, go háirithe nuair a bheasadar gur chuig fuireann bhuió thar cailc.
We're getting ready to go out, have our warm-up. Paul Clark has been out putting out the cones on the pitch, and he comes in, and I'm just getting ready to say the final few words, and he says, Pillar, Mayo are gone down to our end. And I turned to the team and I said, lads, what do you want to do? And to a man they shouted, we're going down to our end.
You're psyched up going out there. I would have liked that. I would have revelled in that going down. I'd have hated to go to the canal end and let Mayo have one up at that stage.
Sure, mayhem broke out afterwards.
If a ball came to you with the word Mayo onto it, you fired it up into the top of the Hogan stand.
It was fantastic drama.
Great sense of expectation at Croke Park, looking for a support player. That's Alan Brogan. Brogan darting. This is dangerous. Good stop, and it's finished. Bakide. They're level.
I remember for our second goal, Kevin Bonner came in towards the goal. He hand passed to me, I flicked it back to him, and he hand passed it across to J.O. for a handy tapping goal. And I remember coming back out to the field and I looked at Kevin and we kind of smiled at each other. And when I look back now, I think maybe that was the moment in my mind where I let the whole thing get to me and we just didn't finish out the job as a team. Like when you're 7 up with 20 minutes to go, you really should be finishing the game.
It's high, it's over! To edge Mayo, the Connacht champions, into a 1-point lead. We have played 4 minutes of stoppage time, it's all over! Mayo have beaten Dublin in the All-Ireland football semi-final.
This was another glorious Dublin failure, and Alan seemed to become the poster boy for playing well in these glorious failings. He was the one player that didn't ever let Dublin down, even though lots of other players went hiding.
An rud eile tarlaíonn son, coileann an fern an taithí bheith cluiche craobh agus conas óla bhú, agus an fócus, agus na man, agus na slút, agus na ticéad. So, is dóil ó héh star an fern sin I blá clia, bhór an buile, dá mar rud é go sritadar craobh na hhéireann an bliain son, bhéidir a bhad contosig sna cúpla bliain in na íag.
Fé 2007, the imróí á clia tuileann nach aine dhéanamh chun an búáilt. Rud a bhí le feiscin go saléir ag gluthe Canis Lion.
One thing Pillar had brought into them, if they got a score, the forwards would be instructed to laugh in the defender's face. All their forwards were doing it, jeering the Laois players when they scored, and it was just like, there's no need for this at all.
Yeah, look, like I think at the time we were looking for any angle we could to maybe psychologically beat the opposition, get one over.
That's brilliant from Keeney. Here's a chance. Can it be three? Yes. Allen's got one now.
Towards the end of the game, he got a goal, pretty much put the game to bed. There was obviously a little bit of needle between the two of them. Alan started pointing at the scoreboard to Fergal Byron and kind of making a laugh of him.
Real messy stuff. Fergal Byron, the goalkeeper, out with Alan Brogan.
Well, why don't they just jog away? They have the game won. They don't need to do that.
I remember the incident. It's probably not my proudest moment, to be fair. And I since apologised to a couple of the Laois lads.
Send them back to school, I'd say. That's the behaviour of schoolboys.
I texted him later on that night, and I was so annoyed with him. I sent him a real weaselly text message, like, I'd say your father wouldn't be too impressed with your antics today or something. And he just texted me back and said it was a sore loser, and that was it. We didn't speak for about 3 weeks.
I suppose you live and learn. I was still young.
Well, there you go. Collymoran receives the Delaney Cup. Dublin win 3 in a row.
Chailech á clia an cluthe le Canis Gúine Chiarí, ach a 2008, tugach antas mór de Allen.
The honour of captain in Dublin, for me, it was a no-brainer. Alan had become a serious leader in the group. He was so popular with everybody in the dressing room. He was our best forward, bar none.
The cavalry are arriving as Brogan tries to skin his man. Still Brogan. Brilliant score.
Alan Brogan is getting out in front of Murphy more and more. Brogan steadies and takes his point.
Probably helped mature me up as a footballer. Probably made me realise that you're now a senior member of this team, so you need to act accordingly and you need to lead by example.
And the All-Star is giving an exhibition. Brogan. What a score. Shooting practice for Brogan.
His performances were at a very high level on a consistent basis. He carried that forward line a lot on his own shoulders.
They're in again. That is 4 in a row. Alan Brogan.
And he's nailed another one. He has not put a foot wrong in this second half. Supporters at L16, thank very much.
We moved into Laochra Lodge in 1990, and I remember that because of the World Cup. World Cup 90 was on that year, and I think we moved in the May of that year. Yeah, I suppose early on in my work career, I was a sales rep for a number of different companies, and I would have actually done a lot of driving around Dublin and around Ireland. I often found that if you did a lot of driving that day, you could be stiff at training. And before the Tyrone game, I did a lot of driving on a Wednesday. We were training that Wednesday night. I got out of the car and I actually tweaked my hamstring on the Wednesday night before that game. I thought it was okay, but when the game, I only lasted 5 or 6 minutes in the game, my hamstring went. So I was always conscious after that not to be doing too much driving before training or the days of training, because you just stiffen up sitting in this position for too long, or even at a desk for too long. It can stiffen up the body and can lead to injuries later on that evening on a training field, unfortunately.
We were confident going into it. We'd come through the Leinster Championship in very good form. We went in and we played the match, and the first ball that came in to be Conor Gormley was marking me. First ball, I won it out in front, and I just felt the hamstring go.
Brogan out, there was a slip by...
I knew my game was over, and unfortunately had to leave the field.
I'm looking off camera at Alan Brogan there, yeah, he's a concern.
The man who's been carrying them, the man who makes them tick, went off early, deflating for the fans, deflating for Dublin, and a huge lift for Tyrone.
What a start for Tyrone! Good side step, free man is Joe McMahon! Unbelievable! Davy Hart! And Dublin conceded 3 goals.
I was devastated after that game. I think we put so much into it. That wasn't just a year or 6 months worth of work. We put 4, 5, 6 years into that game.
And Dublin's wait for an All-Ireland title was 13 years. The future for Paul Caffrey and his management team looks bleak.
As a group of players, we're probably wondering, will we ever get there?
Bhí Pat Gilroy den steward a gáhíle san nae, ach bout bhain eile, Pepper Allen agus a choimróí sa chléile cheannis.
Again, they just blew us out of the water. The Gooch got a goal after a couple of minutes. Like, it was lights out after that. We never responded to that goal at all.
The first goal that Dublin have conceded in this year's championship after 40 seconds, and this man.
I don't know where you're going to go from here. You know, it's not going to be easy. You seem to be way off those top teams.
Here I am, 2009, 7 or 8 years on, and haven't reached an All-Ireland final yet.
Leanan Tromley an bhliain dar giún, nuair a tháinig an bhí in níor a dúig ortha a gluile cheannis Lion.
Can he finish? Yes, he can. This is Cian Ward. It's opened up. He's gone for it. What a goal.
I think we conceded 5-9 that day.
Looking for goal number 4. That is goal number 5.
After that game, Pat decided at that stage that kind of enough was enough, and the next day 4 or 5 guys were dropped.
And that was the wake-up call for Gilroy, just to change up their tactics.
Ráta ár dibre, agus ag hard Bernard a bheith ar bhuirean, an dáchlach cúine a bhí féin góras nua.
Now you're starting to think these lads have the hardness of watching their defence, but also have 4 exceptional forwards.
By Bernard Brogan, 5 points so far in the match, all of them from frees. Back it comes to Cian O'Sullivan. Slip back in again towards the corner forward. That looks good. It's a 1-point game.
I think it's funny enough, Alan was a full forward or corner forward before Bernard came. When Bernard came, Alan moved out to the half forward line and Bernard moved into the full forward line. And they had a great understanding together because they played football together with Duncan, so they had a lot of football under their belt.
Brogan needing reinforcements. Way back, 30 metres back to his brother Alan Brogan, but they managed to keep the attack alive. They're behind by a point. Not any longer.
I knew how he played, I knew where he wanted the ball, I knew the runs he'd make, and I knew I could trust him to get the scores when we needed them. And I think that was the sort of relationship we had. We never tried to outdo each other. I felt we always complemented each other very well.
He's left a number of defenders behind him. Back in towards his brother, and it's cracked over the bar. And Dublin lead the quarter-final. They wait now for the final whistle. And Dublin advance to the semi-finals.
That was the first big team we'd beaten in a championship match, so for us that was huge that day. That kind of gave us great impetus going into the following game.
Gael Corkery, brilliant ball in, he's got away, goal for Bernard Brogan. What a start for Dublin in the 2nd minute. Alan Brogan, Cork not tight enough, he's got options ahead of him, but Alan Brogan goes himself. Bernard Brogan is now furthest forward, simple game when you do it like that. Here comes Dublin, Alan Brogan. Bernard's been doing the business and Alan Brogan does it for the 2nd time today.
Ceagur chaile ar a gine chorcaí, bhí dóchas ann. Bhí ar níos gorid de bhar an tlé, ach an bhíoch Alan riamh a aisling bána le éireann a bhuachan.
Well, I think everybody understood the pressure it was in bringing in the morning the game.
Bhí an chlán tácht go gánaí de Alan, agus bhí an delúsa níos saléir na riamh nuair a caileach a henathir a gábhíle sa héniag.
Listen, you know, one of the big disappointments I had, you know, over the time was that my father never saw you play in the All-Ireland, you know. So, you know, they remember the picture of the special day.
Yeah,
You have, huh?
Yeah, I have a hang on my wall, so I do. The larger
version of that, yeah. Yeah, that was against Gael.
It was the only times we played for Dublin, wasn't it? Probably one of the only times we played together, wasn't it?
Together, yeah, a few times.
We're from a big family. My dad has 8 brothers and a sister, lots of grandkids, and all of us were very close to my grandparents. My granddad passed away on the Thursday, I think, before we were playing down on the Saturday night. The 3 of us were due to tug out in the match. I think I came on as a sub, but Paul and Bernard were starting, I think.
Before the match, there was a picture of my father on the big screen, so it was a real nice touch.
To be out on the pitch, to see your granddad up on the board was a real kind of poignant moment. The last play of the game, which you couldn't write it. Paulie got a ball in the back. It was a drop short or something, and Paul turned over the ball.
He won the breaking ball and he knocked one up the line.
Came down to me, down the end line. I ran towards the corner of the hill, and I just saw Alan. Decided to just ping it across.
I was there inside the 6-yard box and just poked it into the net, into the hill 16 end.
We say my granddad got a fist to the ball before Alan put it in.
It was a poignant moment because the three of us had been involved in the move.
It was a nice way to send off, and Alan gave the hand up to the granddad.
That sort of day was a special day for us, you know.
Bhí Alan I mór a bhahasa an saoire son, agus bhí buinneach beagaige le haithlia a ghol cho fada le cluthe canis na hÉireann.
Alan Brogan, from one Brogan to another, and that's over the bar by Bernard. Giving it to Alan Brogan, back in it comes to Connolly, and slipped into the back of the net.
I think my priorities probably changed a little bit, like setting up scores became a lot more important. I knew if I could deliver a good pass into Bernard or into Mossy Quinn or into Paul Flynn or into Dermot Connolly and they get a score off it, that gave me as much satisfaction as scoring myself did, and I think that was a huge change in kind of in my mindset.
Now Alan Brogan, the early ball looking for away from Joey Wanning.
Bhí anna chud taithí aige agus bhí daoine óga ag tacht chun cín ar an fearn ar an bliain ára sin. Bhí sé mar ceantas na Canarí a bhí ag bailile clia.
He was just seeing gaps, he was seeing what was coming, he was one step ahead of the opposition and just able to put the ball through the eye of a needle. There's not many players that are able to do that.
What about the finish?
Bhí tioncar Alan Brogan Harvh táachta. Bhí sé ónna feagna blianta, bhí éasige cad bhí ag testáil chun cluichí a bhócant, agus bhí na ceachtainna fólamthe óna cailúntaí sna blianta rivisig.
Precisely, and that's a super point from Alan Brogan.
Bhí sébre na díor caite ó ghlacátha clia páirt so lá is mó sport in éiring, agus é muintir na príomhcharach bís.
Probably the biggest factor for us leading into that game was how to control the hype around it. You just have to try and switch off from it. Like you know, people are going to ask about the match, so you have like we worked on stock answers to give people. If somebody asks you this, the answer you give back to them, and then you try and change the subject. None of my family would have spoken about the match. My wife certainly wouldn't have been talking about the match. My friends would have known not to talk about the match. So those are the people that you try and surround yourself leading up to a match like that.
This was huge. They hadn't ever reached an All-Ireland final, and now they're playing traditionally their biggest rivals.
I think the pressure for him was sort of mounting to actually, in a sense, deliver.
Second All-Ireland final gets underway.
The game actually started very well for me.
Alan Brogan coming in here. Killian Young alongside him. Gets the shot in. Crowd will tell you where it's gone over the bar.
That gave me great confidence. I was off the mark in the All-Ireland final. I got our second score as well after maybe 10 or 12 minutes.
Young lost to Alan Brogan, who kicks and scores another. 2 in a row for Alan Brogan. Up to Darren O'Sullivan.
Then Kerry started to pull away from us. Like they did look the stronger team.
Here he goes. Dished off here beautifully. What a goal! That's an absolute peach.
We just wanted to get to half-time, and that's all we were worried about, get the half-time still in the game.
Just a point separating these teams at the break. Down they get it as far as Alan Brogan.
I had a chance early in the second half, after maybe 20 or 30 seconds in the second half, and I missed it. So that kind of knocked the stuffing out of me a little bit.
Colin Cooper is off.
I think the Gooch threw a dummy solo at one stage on Philly McMahon and kicked it to put them 3 or 4 up, and certainly at that stage it did look like it was getting away from us.
Knocks it brilliantly over the bar.
And Kerry seemed in complete control of the match. I think Killian Young tried a hand pass over my head. I just got a little fingertip to it. It changed the flight of the ball and it just broke into Keane O'Sullivan's hands.
But a goal for Dublin would unsettle all of that. It's a free kick. Keane O'Sullivan.
I got a bounce and a solo in, and then I fed Kevin McMahon, who was completely the right man in the right position at the right time.
Sent in, McManaman dodging.
It was a brilliant finish, and for me, it didn't happen by chance. It happened because of stuff we'd worked on.
That goal obviously energised us, and then we're like, okay, actually, we're in this.
And now they come looking for the equaliser. Kevin Nolan hitting one, and it's over.
Amazingly, Dublin just came out of their shell. The nerves went, the stadium came alive.
I got a score that's long forgotten about. No one ever remembers it. One of my best scores ever.
Comes back towards Bernard Brogan. He's nailed it. What a kick by Bernard Brogan.
And then Donaghy kicked one from the sideline. That was just ridiculous.
To Donaghy, high up into the clouds. Gooch is in there. It's gone over. He's kicked the team's level.
At this stage, a lot of people are thinking, right, this is going to replay.
Kerry back defending. McManaman attacking. And he's kicked, and it's a free kick to win the All-Ireland.
I came over and just had a look, and I was just about 35, 40 yards out on the right-hand side. It's like, it's probably, it's pushing me into 50-50 territory here. Like, anything that I couldn't chip over easy enough, I basically gave to Stephen Cluxton. Called him up. And then it was kind of time stood still.
Everybody's sort of, I won't say praying, but that's the way it was. Both the Kerry guys were praying and we were praying. Different things.
The distance with the angle, about 45 metres. Here he comes to win the All-Ireland. Cluxton. He's put it over the bar, and Dublin are in front. It's all over. Dublin have won the All-Ireland. The most dramatic, the most wonderful of finishes. Kerry beaten, Dublin triumph. What a triumph. It's Stephen Cluxton who's done it, as Dublin end a long, barren spell.
Like, it's 10 years of frustration just disappearing in one moment, and for that split second it's just pure elation, and I've often watched clips of us jumping around after celebrating, and that's a minute or two that I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
Hands over Sam Maguire. It's going to Dublin. It's going to Brian Cullen, because Dublin are the All-Ireland champions for the 23rd time. They are the top team, the best team in Ireland in 2011.
I suppose as things settled down a little bit after that, obviously just a huge sense of joy and a huge sense of achievement, but I think there was probably a sense of relief as well, that thank God we finally managed to do this.
Bíonn sé díon just imeacht tharan líne ach bhí an ocra sin orthú an bliain sin agus Alan agus is tóca gur hamáin sé an grúpa agus is ó listúthal máthair le Alan agus Bernard agus Paul, so Cahamid of Sásta slí éigean dóibh.
Yes, well, it is a night of crack agus ceol here in Dublin city centre as Dublin Sabre, their All-Ireland senior.
It's a time in our life that none of us will ever forget. I think anyone from Dublin, whether they were playing, whether they were family of someone playing, whether they were support or wherever they involved, it's a time in somebody's life in the capital that people will never forget. And obviously winning the Footballer of the Year, look, any time you win individual accolades is always nice, and it's just topped off the year nicely for me.
It's been a great few weeks, and we've certainly enjoyed it, and I think we'll have another month or two left in us yet before we go back training.
Lots of movement off the ball.
Treis bhuaicne na bliana gábhíl sa haíag, hit an tóin as a héal pelle a gábhíl sa dóíag, nuair a gurtaíoch Alan go duna i gluthe Canis Lion.
Alan Brogan has gone down injured for the second time in
I tore my
this
groin
game.
and had to go off that day. I tried to come back for the All-Ireland semi-final against Mayo. I tried to come on at half-time and had to go off again after 10 minutes, so we were beaten by Mayo obviously that day, but look, I suppose in hindsight maybe I was trying to force myself back too quickly, and I wasn't 100% right. I probably should have stepped aside that year and just given the year a miss with a view to coming back the next year, because ultimately that injury cost me most of 2013 as well. We had to go to the UK to get it operated on.
In ein onion dua a bhí geista teachig a héanú ngortú, ní raní Alan de chluthe Canis na Héireann i gábhíl sa trídíag.
I would say, knowing Alan, that was tough on him. You know, he was the type of guy that needed to be in the middle of it, being able to have an influence inside the white lines.
Look, you're still part of the team, you have to get on with it. Obviously, everyone would prefer to be playing, but as Jim had been preaching all that year, everyone has a role to play, so I knew I had a role to play whether I came on or not. But I still thought maybe I might get on if Jim needed me, but look, he'd come through that year with a certain bunch of players, and even though I was on the bench that day, I wasn't needed.
Cluxton, the captain, kicking out. The whistle sounds, it's all over. And Dublin have won the All-Ireland.
Bhí Alan Harnash fach na himire a gábhíl sa Cahardíag, nuair a chaile clia in ag grún an áil. Agus bhí na ráflí féna hauchaí for lehan in a dhiag.
There was some pictures of myself and my son Jamie taken after that game with a couple of tears in their eyes and maybe looked like I was going to step away. Myself and my wife, they were expecting our second child in March 2015, so I knew life was going to get a bit busier after that as well.
Yeah, I suppose Alan had been thinking, okay, well, you know, if it's a successful day on the pitch, might it be my last? I don't know. Even if they had won, I don't think Alan would have given up that year, to be honest. He definitely wouldn't have. But it was in his mind, and I just said, you know, and I knew he was upset, and I said, oh, we just stopped this always next year, kind of thing, and sure, that's all that needed to be said. His priority was that the team succeeded, as opposed to himself. Of course, he wanted to be a part of it, and he always felt that he had something to give. So, yeah, there were tougher days, but he certainly didn't, you know, just focus on himself. It was all about the team.
Look, we had a chat and we said we'd give it one more lash in 2015 and see where it takes us. So I put a lot into 2015, like a lot of sacrifice from my own point of view, a lot of sacrifice from my family's point of view. But we knew it was going to be my last year, so we decided we'd leave no stone unturned. If I can keep getting game time and we can get to an All-Ireland final and win an All-Ireland final, then this is going to be worthwhile.
Fuair Alan Laochra héir, nuair a rognaí chéile tasnú san aithimirt chlutha lechanis na héireann. Ach scríosadh a bhring lóidí ag an neomad dernach.
I remember when Jim told me, he stopped me at the door and he said, can I have a chat with you? And I said, yeah, of course. Kind of knew what was coming. And he said, look, I'm going to go with, I'm going to put Dermot back in and I'm going to run you off the bench. So I said, okay, look, fair enough, Jim. I certainly wasn't going to throw the toys out of the pram. I remember I went into the toilet, stood at the sink in the toilet, had a look and said, right, that's it, park that now. I went back out to the lads and wished the lads the best of luck and sat down as if I was always named on the bench.
It was a tough one for him, you know. It was a big year. He was coming towards the end as he felt maybe, but still felt he'd something to add, and was geared up for it and was ready to go. So I'd say that really, really hurt him.
Time to settle this little argument. Which of these is best?
Bhuinátha clia an clutha ceannaisiach, agus bhí Alan dóchsach go mbeadh ar a chumas i Chionnhéanaíanamh don bhirn.
McMahon here in a dangerous position and then lost. Just couldn't hold on to it.
We hadn't scored much. I remember it was coming to 55 minutes thinking, right, I'm going to get the call here, warming up. No call coming. I was getting to 60 minutes, going to get the call here. No call coming. At one stage I was running down, about to run over Jim Gavin, thinking had he forgot about me. But look, in fairness to him, we knew what he was doing. I went in at about 60, 65, 66 minutes.
Alan Brogan's coming on. Brian Fenton's going off.
To see Alan come off the bench, like it was the place erupted, gave us massive energy because the game was in the balance, it was very tight.
There was 3 or 4 minutes left in normal time and I knew there was going to be 5 or 6 at least of injury time, so I had 10 minutes to make an impact in this game.
Throws the ball up at the end, the referee's gone and he has it. Here's a chance. Oh, Gillian Young had the opportunity and he let it slip from his grasp. And in came James McCarthy and Dublin can break once again with Alan Brogan picking up his first possession.
I saw Bernard make a run up front of me. I gave a kick pass up to him and just kept going.
All the way down to his younger brother Bernard.
back to Alan again.
At one stage I saw Dermot Connolly coming past me. He never even looked at me, he just kept going. I asked him afterwards, Dermot, did you not want that ball? He said to me afterwards, I was just making a decoy run to try and take someone away from you.
Has options right and left. Needs to make his mind up.
Bit of a gap just opened up. Yeah, look, it just fell onto my left foot and I just caught it sweetly and it sailed over the bar.
His mind was made up to kick it with his left and to boot it over the bar.
I'd spent hours and hours kind of honing my left foot with my dad when we were young. We'd spend hours on the left foot and I suppose all those hours of practice trying to hone your weaker foot all came home to roost in that one split second.
What an introduction. The hill erupts. Sea of blue and navy there. Ready to salute a point by Alan Brogan.
I knew, obviously, the journey he'd been on and the challenges he'd had throughout the last couple of years, and especially that year when he was actually flying. He was playing really well. I was very hard done by to not start, but then not to be in the team. And here, he's my brother. I always loved him getting on the score. Just, I'm so happy for him that he got that score. Like, not everyone gets to make such an impact.
Nor connic mé Alan Brogan agus an cúlín sin sa báisteach is dócha an téanúr doáin a bhí magna, well, you know, is féidir le deire románsú a teacht a réon scéal.
To finish off your last moment of inter-county football, scored a wondrous point in an All-Ireland final, which ended up being the last score of the game. You couldn't script that.
Dublin have won the All-Ireland for 2015. Johnny Cooper and all the others. Kevin McMillan celebrating with the fans. Sam Maguire.
I knew what I'd been through and what we'd been through over the last number of years, the sacrifices I'd made, both in terms of football and the sacrifice my family had made. So, yeah, it was definitely a moment that I savoured those maybe 10 or 15 minutes out onto the pitch after. I remember at one stage, kind of all the players were getting ready to go up the steps of the Hogan stand to receive the cup, and there was nobody between me and Hill 16. I was maybe 50 yards away, and I made a little run towards Hill 16, and Hill 16 kind of erupted. I knew that was going to be, like, I knew that was my last moment in a Dublin jersey, and looked up to my mum and dad there, and I gave them yeah, like, I knew that was going to be my last showing in a Dublin jersey.
Ring a rosy as the light declines. I'll remember Dublin city in the red